everyone. Welcome back to the Talk of Fame podcast. I'm Kaya Montigny, and today I'm introducing you to Jamie Logan. Jamie is an animal advocate, YouTuber, filmmaker, content creator, and podcast host. She's based in New York City and she makes videos that get people thinking. Some call it rooting their lives and pushing her agenda. Well, she likes to thinking of it as sharing an obvious truth that most people tend to ignore. Welcome to the show, Jamie. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you so much, Kylie. It's great to be here. This is
So,
exciting.
a lot of people know you as an animal activist. Like, what got you into that? Because I know you are very big into that, go to a lot of protests, a lot
Yeah,
of those things. But what got you into it, first of all?
totally. Yeah, I think it was definitely a process. I grew up similar to everybody else. I ate meat most of my life. I had pretty a normal upbringing. I partied in high school, and then I found out where my food was coming from, and my whole world changed. I was 13 when I first was exposed to this reality. I was on a highway visiting my grandparents one summer in Indiana, and I was sitting in the car with my dog and my grandparents, and this pig livestock truck drove by us. And I just remember looking out the window, seeing, I want to say, a few dozen pigs crammed inside this metal truck. It was so hot outside. And I remember looking at the pigs in there and looking at my dog and thinking, what's the difference between these two animals? Because they're really the same in most of the ways that matter, in their ability to feel pain, their ability to suffer. And so that moment forward, it was like the first time I really thought about where my food was coming from. A few years later, I had stopped eating pigs after that. A few years later, I went vegetarian and then ultimately vegan after seeing a documentary called Earthlings. And I think what got me involved in activism was it was being exposed to seeing this suffering and wanting to do something about it. So, like, I think when it comes to all the things that are happening to animals, from cosmetic testing to the food system, the only thing that really quiets my mind is trying to do something. And so that's how I got involved in protesting and disruptions and started my podcast. And I started my activism with AV cubes, which are just, they're in most cities. And it's a great way to get together with other activists in the community. And it's basically where you just show standard practices of what happens in these industries to the public. And you ask them, have you seen this before? How does it make you feel? And I love this approach because I just wish that I knew sooner and that somebody had showed me. And so you can really change people's lives that way. And then from there, I started going to fur protests. I got involved in slaughterhouse vigils, and that really shook me up. And that was like what lit a fire under me when you look at these animals moments before they're about to be taken inside and be violently killed. I just knew that I was never going to stop until every freaking cage is empty.
Oh my God. Like, was like the asking questions the first thing you did? What was kind of first like step in your activism, or was that the first part for you?
Well, I would say before I even knew about AV, I was eating plant-based and I was aware of like leather and not buying, animal products, but I want to fit in. I want to be friends with people and like, it's I have to also learn how to answer people's questions when they ask me where protein comes from, right? So when you make this shift, it definitely can create a little bit of interesting dynamic with the world around you, being that we live in this, non-vegan world. So my first ever act, it actually happened accidentally. I was in Israel visiting a few friends, and we were out at this bar inside one of the markets there, and there was this animal rights protest that went through the market. And I was like, I had had a few drinks and I'm like sitting at the bar and I see these like horrific signs and like people walking by and they're saying something in Hebrew. I have no idea what they're talking about. And I was like, wait, I'm gonna go join in there. These people are awesome. So I actually like went around the market with them and somebody gave me a sign. And that was like my first ever protest. And then I came back into the States, and long story short, I have a cousin in California who's been vegan for, I want to say, close to 18 years. And she introduced me to AV, the educational style of activism, which led to other things.
Oh my God. Like the way you were in a whole different country, speaking a whole different language and joined, even though you don't know what they're saying. Like that says a lot, honestly.
I was like, I think that their message lines with mine.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what they're saying, but it seems like they support the same mission as I do, even though
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're saying at all.
And my friends thought it was funny because I just disappeared and went off into the protest from the bar, and they like saw me, like, we would run around the market, and the little did they know a monster
No.
was created that night,
I,
I guess.
I know, but how long were you in the protest for?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Oh my God. Like imagine like just leaving 20 minutes without your friends knowing, be like, oh yeah, I just came back from a protest. No worries.
Oh, they knew because these people, we were causing ruckus in the market, and I loved it.
Oh my God. Honestly, if it's like if you are someone like you gotta be like, this is my dreamland, this is my people. Like, there's nothing better.
Totally, totally.
So, how has like your activism shaped your professional choices and the way you approach your work? I know you've been talking about vegan and all that stuff, but how has it shaped your professional and personal choices?
Definitely. So I went vegan at 18, so I was in college, and what a better time than that to be able to explore and to work on projects that I was passionate about. So all throughout college, I made my projects centered around animal rights. And for me, it's like it's given me a purpose in life, and I don't want to spend, 90% of my life where most of us work working on something that doesn't mean anything. It has
Mhm.
to be meaningful work for me, for me. And so I think that it's just, with anything, it's important to just network, to make connections, to try out different things so you figure out what it is that you don't like. So in college, I had internships at SiriusXM, CNBC. I worked in production, and I learned and developed skills such as video editing, interviewing, on the street style interviews. And I worked on these skills. I built my website. I started my podcast in college, and then I applied these skills to my activism. So when I think I was 19 or maybe 20, I went to an animal rights march in New York, and I started chatting with this man named Jordan Ehrlich of Cave Light Films. And he's a director of this film company, and he asked me about some of the activism that I was doing. And he thought it was really interesting that I like go to slaughterhouses and give animals water before they're about to be killed. And he said he wanted to come and film one of these vigils. So I said, yeah, please. We really want more eyeballs on this. Please come. So he comes, he makes a short film under 10 minutes, and the video ends up getting over 20 million views. And it was simply myself, a few other activists giving water to these animals. And there was a heated interaction between us and the farmer who was dropping the animals off at their deaths. And what this did was it really showed me the power of media in advocacy,
Mhm.
and how in a few like clicks of a button, I post something and it has the potential to reach millions of people. So not only am I just reaching the 20, 30 people that I might speak to on a given day in the streets, but now I can amplify that message. So that's then I shifted my focus. And I worked with Jordan after college for 3 years. We worked on 6 short films together. And then I moved to working at Generation Vegan, which I was working in animal advocacy, running their social medias. And I also have my own projects going on. And now I'm a full-time activist.
Like the fact that it got 20 million views says a lot. Like, like even with social media, like it's very powerful, but the fact that of a 10 or fewer minute video, you and other activists showing this thing of feeding animals before they're
Totally.
killed says that people want to be educated on the subject. It doesn't like talk about often, honestly. Because I never really hear about it on my end.
Totally. Well, the industries aren't going to regulate themselves. So that's why we need whistleblowers and activists to really step it up and amplify the voices that the animals have, you know?
I know. It's honestly like I cannot be in that situation to go like tell people off, but like when I see people doing that, I'm just like, you have more confidence in yourself than I ever could. It's because
That's
like
not true.
it's
No,
it's so powerful that I'm just like, oh my God, like the way it got 20 million views in a subject like this, like it's a heavy subject that we need to learn more about because it's something that probably happens on a daily.
well, we are all capable of doing this kind of work, and it takes a village. Like one person cannot, we need everybody to band together because we're that much more powerful together. And I would say I wasn't always super confident, and I would say fake it till you make it.
Oh, for real. Like
Even I still go
that's
into
the best way to go
situations.
for it.
Yeah, I still go into a lot of situations or when I'm on the street, where maybe I'm not super nervous anymore because I really know how the facts and the information and I've had practice conveying it. But there's definitely disruptions that I go into where I'm like, oh God, like I don't know, am I gonna get arrested? Is like what's gonna happen after this? Like, of course you have these thoughts, but practice makes perfect, and we have to just consider what the animals are going through and weigh, is the benefit and the outcome going to outweigh whatever risk I'm taking. So am I going to get the message out there for the animals in a way that's well received and that people might change from or not? So, and then base my actions off of that.
It's always worth the risk, you know? You never know what's gonna happen. I mean, it's okay to have those thoughts, you know? Like every activist goes into asking people questions about a certain subject or go on protests or something. You never know what's going on. Even if it's just animal activism or something else, it can be really anything. Like it's completely normal to have those thoughts. It's not like, oh yeah, today I'm gonna get
Right.
arrested for this. You know, it's like once in a blue moon.
Totally.
So, as you do your activism over the last couple of years, can you kind of walk us through what led to your decision to disrupt Coach's New York Fashion Week show? Like, what was kind of going through your mind during that time when you disrupted it?
Yeah, I mean, any opportunity that I have to confront big companies about the horrible abuse and environmental destruction that they're responsible for, I will. I would love to meet with them, and disruptions are kind of the last resort. PETA and other animal rights organizations, they always contact these places beforehand and ask them to stop using these products. They provide them with undercover investigation footage, they offer alternatives, and when they don't change, that's when we take things up a notch. So the Coach fashion show disruption is just an example of that. And I was really sick that week, actually. And I got a text from one of my contacts at PETA, and they said, hey, we think you would be really good for this. Can you be available this date to crash this show? And I said, whatever you need, I'll be there. And I'm like, I had like 102 fever. I was like, we'll do it. We'll get this done. So what led to my decision was really the urgency of it and the potential for media and press to shine light on this issue.
Mhm.
So you never know what really is going to go down. Like I could have held the sign upside down or fallen. And my biggest concern or fear is that I'm going to fail at getting the message out there for the animals. And so, I mean, it's one of those things where I think with activism, if somebody wants to do more of these types of things, it's super important to just follow directions and kind of do as you're told. So my friend Rachel, she was kind of directing us and also filming it. And so I was kind of following her call of like, okay, when we get inside this place, what do we do? Where do we sit? That kind of thing. And then when it was time, I just took a deep breath and stood up and held the sign up and walked and just hope for the best. I thought that I was going to be tackled in like 20 seconds at most, but I was up there for like a couple, what seemed like maybe a minute or two, 2 minutes maybe.
That's not bad. I mean, it's longer than most people get in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we got the photos we wanted. And next thing you know, Vogue Business is talking about the leather industry. So it was a very successful action. And I think whatever it takes,
Hmm.
because unfortunately, people just don't want to look at these issues. And so we have to be creative in our approach as activists to demand their attention.
Oh, I know. Like, was it just yourself that did it, or was other people doing it with you?
Sasha was painted as the skinned animal. I was holding the sign, and Rachel was filming.
Oh my God. What a perfect teamwork though. To get up for 1 or 2 minutes, like it's worth it. If as long as you're getting attention for it. I mean,
Totally.
you did your job well done.
Totally, totally. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean,
So I know with a lot of protests, everyone has different opinions about it. Like how did they react to like your protests, like when it was posted on social media?
it was very positive, surprisingly. I wasn't expecting it. People were saying that they liked my walk for some reason. I was like, oh, thank you. Okay. So it shined a positive light on it, which was good. And people did talk about leather and how it kills. Of course, you're going to come across social media comments that are people like, oh, well, she's wearing leather shoes. And it's like, come on, man. You think I'm going to wear leather shoes to an anti-leather protest? Really? I
I
don't
mean,
have
hey, it
leather
could be
shoes.
something else that might look like leather.
Of course, but people don't realize that. And that's why we need to educate and show them that, hey, like we have all these amazing materials that don't come from other beings' skin, and you could get the same look that you're going for, comfort, durability, just not from a tortured skinned animal.
Exactly. Like not everything comes from an animal though. Like it could
No.
be a variety of different ways.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, to your question, I think that there was, a lot of positive reactions from that one, but there's also been disruptions that may not have super positive reactions to it. And I think that we as activists have to put our own discomfort aside for the animals and just do what needs to be done. And
mhm,
sometimes, as the messengers, we take the biggest hit.
mhm.
And I just kind of learned to accept that, but also learning from whatever mistakes I make and changing my approach accordingly to generate the most impact.
Like that's the way to go. I mean, being an activist and a person takes a lot to grow. Not everyone knows everything, you know? Like activists get a lot of hate for what they advocate for, and that's okay. It's just a way to getting through that process. Not everyone agrees with you or has the same values or anything the same against you. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't, but that's the hardest part for me as well, is accepting that people don't have the same opinions as you.
Yeah, or the same heart or the same level of care. But it means maybe just not now. I think as humans, like we have protection mechanisms and defense mechanisms in our brain that don't actually let us go to some of these dark places. And when you go vegan, you have to allow yourself to recognize the suffering and change. And people are resistant to that. I mean, I was for many years. My one regret is that I didn't do it sooner. And so now, the least that I can do is just help more people make the connection and change the world and leave it a better place than how I found it.
But at least you're doing it. No matter if you wish you'd done it earlier, like at least you're doing it now rather than later.
Totally.
So to jump into your podcast, Jamie's Corner. So what inspired you to create it and how do you envision it since it first started?
So it was actually a college assignment. Back in college, I had to do a project where I built a website and you could either start a podcast, make some sort of video or whatever. And I was like, oh, let me start this podcast. I have a lot to say about this topic. I was already vegan and an activist. And it was originally called Under the Veg Fluence. And it was just goofy. Like my friends and I, we would get together and we would just talk and we were under the veg fluence talking about it. And then I rebranded it to Drop the Knife. And I had a lot of different people on, from activists to doctors to rescuers, sanctuary owners, like amazing, amazing people. And then when I started my Jamie's Corner street style interviews, I ended up rebranding everything kind of under that umbrella. And I think with anything over the years, your quality changes because you get better at, learning the technology and editing. And so that's what Jamie's Corner is now. And I really try to record it just in person for the most part now, if I can.
Like it's literally so good though. Like I listened to a few episodes and absolutely loved it. If
Oh,
anyone is looking to check it out, I totally recommend. But do you have like a favorite topic to talk about during an episode? Because I know you mostly do on-street interviews, right?
yeah, no, I'd be doing both. I release a podcast episode every week. And then I release usually like a street style interview series, kind of a compilation video. I think the topics that I like to talk about and stick to are advice for other vegans of like how to deal with certain social situations when it comes to family or friends. I talk a little bit about dating as a vegan and like some funny stories that happen within that, activism, tips for that, and how we can be most strategic, animal care. So I have rescuers that come on and discuss that. And it really ranges. I mean, I just did an episode about aliens, and the
What?
theme is like, well, what if aliens came down to Earth and did what we do to animals to us?
Imagine though, like that's not a bad point to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, imagine if that were happen though, like that's something that I kind of want to see just because of the entertainment, see. But at the same time, it's like, well, like because there's conspiracy theories that aliens in are not real. Like everyone has like conspiracy theories if they are or not real.
Well, you'll have to listen to the podcast
I
to
know.
really a
I
little bit more
definitely
about
I need to get more information on it. It's honestly a good subject to learn about.
it. Totally, totally. It's interesting for sure.
So, as a Gen Z thought leader, how do you approach creating content that speaks directly to our generation? Because as
Hmm.
someone who's a podcast host and does other things, like it's hard to create content that directs and really just connects with our generation. Because a lot people that we connect with is mostly adults for some reason that I realize.
I think a lot of our content now is very fast paced. It moves. People don't want to, sit and watch super long things on Instagram. And I think one piece of advice I have is within the first 3 seconds, you have to have something interesting. You have to either have, a face that is then saying a question that's going to be answered, or maybe a confrontation or a cute animal or whatever it is that's going to draw somebody in. Otherwise, they're going to keep scrolling. So I change it up. I mean, I worked in film and video production, and so that background sort of helps when it comes to editing. But I always caption my videos, and like I take clips from podcasts, and then within under 90 seconds, I'll have a point that's being made,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So creating content, I think we have to just stay current, up to date with whatever trends that are happening. So, research for me, it could be actually like scrolling through social media for a little bit and seeing like what are some of the viral audios that are taking off right now, and coming up with ideas, sometimes even writing out a script and shooting that is important.
Very well said. Because as someone who makes content, like it's hard to find content that a lot of people connect with it without scrolling. Because
Right.
not everyone with reels, it's like you have to make your point within 10 seconds or no one's gonna watch it. Like
Totally.
literally, if you don't put something in the beginning, maybe it's like, oh, ask a question or someone's kind of snippet answer of an interesting part, and then go through the conversation or whatever. No one's going to care unless you make an interesting point.
Yeah, I think that we definitely have to tailor to people's short attention span.
I know. Because honestly, for me, it's hard for me to watch longer videos. But if it's something within like maybe 90 seconds and it's interesting, I'm just like, give me more information, please. I don't care if I have to listen to a podcast, another reel or something. I'm just like, just give me more information. Because it depends on the situation. Everyone has different interests and everything. But it's like, if it's something important, I mean, we have to listen.
Totally. Totally.
So the best way to wrap this up is how can people connect with you and your work and everything you're doing?
Definitely. They can connect with me through Instagram at It's Jamie's Corner, ITS Jamie's Corner. You could go to my website, itsjamiescorner.com, and shoot me an email or message through there. And if you guys have questions, I would love to, chat with you and get you involved in activism, because we just all need to step it up a notch. And whether that's going to a protest, whether that is wearing a t-shirt with a important message on it, or starting your own podcast or show, it's all needed and necessary, because the animals are suffering day in and day out. And the more of us that get involved, the likelihood is that that will end sooner. That abuse will end sooner.
So true. The more involved, the better, honestly, no matter the subject. So that is the best way to wrap up this episode. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode as much as I did. It's something new that I haven't done in a hot minute, but I'm so glad we were able to talk about this subject and learn more from you. But thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on and taking the time to talk with us at your busy schedule. It means so much and learn so much. I hope everyone learns something new today. Really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this. And it's really exciting that you are a perfect example of like just you press the record button and you just do it. You don't come up with excuses. So I love that.
Thank
It's
you.
good
I
to
mean, it should be no excuses, no matter the situation, every story needs to be talked about.
totally, totally. Thank you.
So make sure to like, subscribe, and review, and I'll see you guys very soon.